Alright guys, so before we get into selecting the target, what I want to do is I want to run this program real quick and I'll show you guys pretty much what we did so far and what we're going to have to do next. So what we did is, let me just start this right here, is whenever we run the script, the first thing that's going to pop up is this right here, just this interactive prompt. So then whenever clients start connecting, let me run this real quick, we're going to see a little indicator that says connection has been established and whatever their IP address is. So this is my IP address. I just connected to it. So now that we're in Turtle, remember we gave it two prompts, custom prompts. You can type in list, and then what it does whenever you do that is, we built this in the last video. Where are you at? All right. So what it does is it goes through and it lists all of the computers that are currently connected to your server. So it just gives them an ID number, which is pretty much the list number, and then their IP address, and then their port. So then later on, you're going to be able to say select 0, and eventually we're going to have more 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. And whenever we select it, it says you are now connected to that computer, and from here you can just write like whatever you want. So echo hey, and look, on their machine it says hey, whatever. And eventually also we're going to be able to type in quit, and then we're going to get back to our main program. So list, and I'll show you guys a bunch of cool stuff that you can do with that and how to customize it however you want. But just to reiterate, what we did so far is we just listed the connections. We're just displaying them. Now, in this tutorial, what I want to do is I want to show you guys how to actually select a computer. So let me stop that, and that's what we're going to do. All right. So I'll say select target client. And if you guys are like, wait a minute, I just tried to run this program and it doesn't work like yours did. That was another, I have the completed program already, and that was from that. So if you try to run this right now, it's going to give you a bunch of errors. So, just a heads up in case you guys were trying to figure that out. All right. So define get target, and we're going to pass in the command right here. All right. So this function right here, remember, if they typed in list, then it's just going to display all the computers that are connected. Now, once they review that list and they find one that they want to control, they're going to write select and then their ID number. So I wrote select 0, and then I was connected. Now, what we also pass this in is the command. So the entire command. So this isn't any actual code, so it's going to be like select 0, select 1, select 2. So eventually what we're going to do is we're just going to rip out this part of the command, so we only return the ID number. So it's going to be pretty simple, but we need to do some weird things. So what I'm going to do first is just make a simple try. I always call it try catch, try except, whatever. So this is the easy part. We're going to command replace. And what do we want to replace? We just want to replace select, and make sure you add a space after this, because it's going to be like select 0, select 54. And if you just try to replace select, then it's going to return space like 64 or whatever. So you actually want to replace this. And what do you want to replace it with? Just nothing. So now this variable right here should be equal to just the number. Now, another thing that we want to make sure of is right now it's equal to a number, but it's in the string format since that's what they typed in. So what we want to do is we need to convert it to an integer, and I'll just write target right there. And you can actually wrap this all in one line, but I want to keep things simple. All right. So now this variable is an integer of whatever the computer they want to connect to. And now what we're going to do is we're actually going to get the connection object. So from all connections, all the computers that are connected, we want to connect to target. So whatever connection was in that list, that's the one we're trying to connect to. And now we're just going to print out a little indicator, say you are now connected to this computer or whatever. So I'll just write you are now connected to all addresses what is the item in the list? Well, that's just target and 0. 0 is their IP, 1 is their port. So remember, this connection object is what we're going to return. And that way, they can have a bunch of computers connected, but they can only pretty much be interactive with one at a time. It's freaking beautiful. So print after this, remember that, I don't know if that's going to pop up, but you remember as soon as you became connected to another computer, what it did is it didn't say turtle anymore. It actually gave you the IP address of that computer, and that was the new input. So then you know you're not in the interactive prompt anymore. You're actually controlling their machine. So I actually need to convert it to a string in, well, this right here. So now we'll just use the IP address and give you that little greater than indicator. And I also want to write end equals blank, because if we just print this out without this parameter right here, then it's going to print out your prompt and then it's going to move your cursor down to the next line. However, whenever you have an interactive prompt, it prints it out and the cursor is right on the same line. It's not on the new line. So that's why I need to say end right there, so it keeps your cursor on the same line. And now the last thing I want to do is I just want to add an accept. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to try to connect to this computer. However, if we ever get, an invalid connection, we don't want to continue on with the program. We just want to take care of it and let them know that something went wrong. And I'll just say not a valid selection. So maybe whenever they listed all computers, there are only 5 computers in the list, but they tried to select 13, like number 13, and that's, it's not going to work. So we're just going to say that. And since we need to return something, then we're going to return none. And up here, we actually need to return the connection. All right. So whenever they get the target and write select 1 or select 3, it's going to go through, connect to it, and return our connection object. If we write select tuna or select 828 and it's not valid, then it's going to just print out not a valid selection, you dummy, and then it's just going to return none. So looking good. Yeah, in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is we're actually going to start sending them commands, getting into the good stuff. So I'll see you guys then.